go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It's markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Thursday, August 24th, 2023. It's Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, the stock market, the altcoin market, the dollar, gold, silver, all that good stuff. Check out the news of what's going on with any type of crypto news or any type of stock market news, economic news, to impact our day as the stock market opens right now. So let's go ahead and peek over there. First things first, we see Bitcoin still sitting here, 26,300. That's actually a little bit higher than what was at Markets in the Morning yesterday. We were sitting at the lows yesterday, just below 26,000, I believe. Bitcoin did have a little bit of a pop-up that took it to 26,800 yesterday, popping up off those lows. We'll revisit this chart here in a minute. If you caught yesterday's video, we were talking all about this, and I posted about this over there on Twitter yesterday too. Let's take a peek over at the stock market as the stock market's opening right now. Let's go. Here we go. All right, Nvidia, the big popper this morning coming off of earnings that happened yesterday. We do see all the indexes are in the green. You can see the Dow, and that's almost flat, up 6 points over here for the Dow, up 15 points for the S&P, and up 108 points there for the NASDAQ, as Nvidia shares surged overnight as they had their Q4, I don't know what Q it is, Q2, right? Q2 report, and the earnings through the roof. So, of course, Nvidia is 2023's Tesla, it's 2023's Apple, it's 2023's Bitcoin. Nvidia is the number one retail investor stock right now, but they are somehow killing it, which is even mind-boggling because I've watched Nvidia over the years, not as an investor of it, but knowing that, when we were going through all the graphics card stuff over the last 5 years with Ethereum mining, their stock was always up and down whenever Ethereum was up or down, depending on graphics cards' demand to be able to mine Ethereum. And then, once Ethereum moved to proof of stake, of course, there's no desire there anymore for those graphics cards, but they've done the whole AI shift, and I guess they're crushing it. So good for them. But there you go. As for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, still trying to get off of this floor that we're sitting at right here, that we've been talking about all week. So again, we're going to go into Jackson Hole tomorrow, Jerome Powell, all that stuff, the Fed, to see, if we can scoot our way away from here with the Dow. The Dow was up about 180 points yesterday. At one point, it was up over 200, but closed the day up about 180. The S&P, though, is getting a much better bounce away from there. Same goes for the NASDAQ, getting a decent bounce up at the same exact time, right? This is Thursday's candle right here, as we're getting in kind of capitulatory move at this point. Then the next day is kind of the start of the recovery. And as we know, we had the liquidations all take place in crypto Thursday after market hours, right? So the big move in the stock market closes within an hour and a half later. Boom, we have the liquidation there in crypto. That next day is whoop, then we start the shift right there off of the floor there with the stock market. But still waiting for the Dow Jones to just come on along and scoot its way out of there and stop teetering there on the edge. As we know with Bitcoin, it was breaking through this level that triggered all that liquidations to happen over there. So we're still just sitting there, but so far, okay. As for Bitcoin, though, like we said, 26,300, XRP meandering along as expected. I don't really see anything too exciting in the price action to be super excited on XRP as of yet, until they can start to really form a base happening in here. But so far, so good. It's looking precisely as we've talked about since day one. So we started looking at all of this. Bigger mover yesterday was gold. Gold had a big pop, but so did silver. Silver was up about 90 cents per ounce yesterday, which was about 4%. That's a giant move to happen for silver in one day. Today, it's kind of pulling back just a little bit. It's down about 17 cents for silver, 16 cents for silver. Gold is down about $1.50. So nothing crazy there. The DXY was really volatile yesterday, the US dollar currency index. It had pulled back after markets in the morning. It had pulled back. Here we are in the morning. We're all the way back up again. So a lot of volatility over there in the United States dollar or United States dollar currency index. But otherwise, as we sit here today, we get ready to start. We'll talk this about Bitcoin really quick. I made pretty much a whole video about this, and showed the fear and greed index yesterday on how this market has slipped back into fear again for the first time since March, since we had the banking crisis. Prior to that, it was January. So this market has spent most of its time kind of in neutral. But every time we get into the fear and greed index hitting fear, you suddenly get all the charts posted all over Twitter of we're going to 12K, we're going to set new lows. And I spent a video yesterday kind of showing if that were to happen, if you were to go set a new low, you would break everything in regards to the narrative for Bitcoin, in regards to 4-year cycles, in regards to bear markets, in regards to any price action for Bitcoin. Historically, there's no bullish support there. And so you have to understand the idea of 12K. The idea of 12K is not that we go there and then hang out there for a year and then break down. The idea of most 12Kers is that we go to 12K and then we bounce and start a whole new cycle. Why? 84%. It's what we did in 2018. It's what we did in 2014. So it's merely the percentage pullbacks. Even though the percentages to the upside have been vastly different, like in 2017 when we rose about 12,000%, and in 2021, 20, only 2,000%, right? Those numbers were much smaller. So I went through, and as you guys know who followed this channel throughout all of 2022, we essentially watched the whole capitulation ending. We had it kind of solved here to figure out this was the ending of it happening in here. We were already in accumulation, and then FTX collapse happens, and that's what gives us the full distance in here. The thing that was really interesting about it, though, that was kind of shown there in that video, that if you look how long it took, it spent 9 months underneath its resistance. And then finally, and this is if we start ourselves right at the peak, right when Coinbase IPOs, right when everything, this is the peak of the market from all data. When you look at on-chain data, when you look at technical indicator behavior, this is the peak of the market where all weakness emerges into the market. It was right when Coinbase IPO'd. I find it very hard to believe Coinbase is very dominant. They somehow nailed it and had it all pinpoint figured out. But then once you go along here and you just continue the trajectory happening in here, finally, to break out of the resistance, these things actually do occur within 3 days of each other, which I found to be absolutely astonishing. Now, as you guys know, my thesis is not for a new all-time high for Bitcoin. That really ties all the way back to this puppy right here, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This thing, for me to have conviction of Bitcoin to go into a complete bull run, it would be mandatory to see that the stock market goes flying off into a new bull run too. I don't have to argue that or defend myself on it. I've put out articles on it, videos on it, tweets on it. Everybody can read that for themselves and determine whether there's validity to it or not. I don't think it's even debatable. I think it's clearly obvious. I've done enough. I've had very smart brains try to pick that apart and prove that not to be true. The thing that always ends up happening is they don't, or they go along and their minds change and they agree with it. So we would need to see the Dow just go ripping into a huge bull run for me to be convinced that a new all-time high is coming for Bitcoin. But if you kind of have a look at where we are right now, as long as you're holding on top of this level, you technically still even have the recovery phase of 2015 and 2016 in the works right in here. Looks structurally slightly different in here on this recovery, right? But at the same time, still holding higher highs and higher lows, holding on top of the supports. Nothing has broken as of yet. But the idea is that we'd go down here and go to 12K. It's just, it's not based in any reality of the history of the Bitcoin price chart. And so I just, we're nipping that in the butt today because we spent 9 months dealing with it. 9 months of people screaming we were going to 12K. And that was not the case. If we go to 12K at this point, I have no expectations that there's even a support there. So keep that in mind for the bulls who think that we're going to go to 12K and go to new all-time highs. But point being here, my thoughts are to retracements, right? But as of right now, even with the way it's all set up at this point right now, you're still alive when it comes to recovery cycles happening in here. For Bitcoin to start a whole new cycle, you haven't technically even broken the structure of it happening yet. So I thought that was something interesting to look at, to see that you haven't broken it yet. But going down and doing it would definitely do it. If we take out these support levels and just start crumbling down to 22, 21, yeah, definitely you've implemented the 2018 Ethereum model, which wouldn't be great for Bitcoin. But the hope I wanted to provide while everybody is screaming for 12K is that you actually still have your structure intact from 2015. One of the things I wanted to talk about too is that you see a lot of FUD out there on Binance, and we're going to talk about this. Let me also say this. I don't own Binance Coin. I also have actually never owned Binance Coin. And I don't own it right now, and I'm not advocating for it in any way. But what you definitely see out there is tremendous amounts of FUD surrounding Binance. And I remember going through things like this in 2018 and 2019. And the story was way more tied to Bitfinex than it was tied to Tether. I want to to show you kind of how deep into this we all are. To give you kind of a clue, if you were to look at what 2018, the bear market looked like, if you were going to get through 2019, and if you were going to get through 2020, to give you kind of a viewpoint here of how long you've been in this thing at this point, these capitulations, right, that end up happening in here to come to these completions and how far along you are. I don't find it surprising that you have everybody running with the same narrative of Binance gloom and doom. I think it's just because we have extreme fear in the market and with how deep into this we all are. And I don't think people realize how deep we are into this thing. Every time I pull this up, it feels like a fight. But to go give you a clue of how far along this thing really is. And one thing is, we've been talking about Wyckoff Spring, Wyckoff accumulation. This is just like Bitcoin's ending, right? Let's go back. Right here, you have everybody saying it's breaking down, it's dying, it's doom. And I always think to myself, because I wasn't here at this time. Let's go back to Bitcoin. I wasn't here at this time. I'd always wished I was, and I always kind of had wondered what was it like. And I've gotten beyond that, but I tell that story sometimes, when I was in here, thinking to myself, man, I really wish I was the guy who got in back in there. And I'd always said, I wonder what it was like in the market at that time. Was everybody super optimistic? And then when I got to live through this, I realized, no, they're not. They're not optimistic in things like that, just like you saw in here, right? They're not optimistic in here. They're thinking we're going to 12K in here, right? Just like in here, at 3K, even on top of the 200-week moving average, you would think they'd be bullish, but they weren't. They all thought we were going to go crumbling down. And I'd always wondered, what was it like back in here in 2017? But I've been through a few of these moments now, so I have a clue of what it's like. And it's always with people being terrified, and that just is the case. And we've talked a lot about Wyckoff accumulation on these different charts, and to kind of show you how that spring ending ends up happening in there, and that you have everybody fighting it and thinking that it's going to be the thing that breaks the whole market down, and that we're going to go crumbling from here now. And I found it very interesting to say structurally, I don't see it. I don't see Binance Coin crumbling and dying. If anything, I see this as the literal ending of spring phase, and that's just normally what it does. So we'll find out if that comes back to haunt me on that. But I think retail is so herded on this idea, it reminds me of what it was like with Bitfinex and with Tether in 2019, because even I bought into it. Even I read my emotional log on the channel the other day. I was fully convinced we were going to have a plunge and it would be due to Bitfinex and be due to Tether. And I'm pretty sure that's what we have here, right? Binance, Tether, all that stuff. But anyway, just we'll see how this goes. Just reflect back on this moment, and hopefully we can remember to pull this this live stream up again one day to say, remember when the whole market was convinced that Binance was going to collapse and it was going to pull the whole market down with it. Just remember that, because I don't see it. If anything, you get what I'm saying. All right. There we go. So how are we starting the day? Let's see how the stock market's going now that it's getting opening. So now the Dow is up 30 points, which is nice. It would be nice if we could, at least by tomorrow's close, work our way out of there and get up at least like 300 more points to scoot away from here. We have spent enough time hanging out on there. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's nice. All right, cool. So we do have the stochastic RSI starting to pull up here, at least on there. Okay, we're pulling up on the 2, but the 4 looks like it's starting to go. We've dipped into oversold as we got into here. Maybe today, like guys, if we get like a plus 200 point day over here in the Dow, I will be breathing a massive sigh of relief and excitement for this market. As you guys know, we've been sitting here for almost a week now. Thursday, it's been a week now. So keep our eyes close on that. Looks like the NASDAQ has taken back everything from the Nvidia move. So Nvidia has taken back a lot, almost back at its all-time high. So it got up into a new all-time high, taken a lot of it back. All of the big moves over here in the NASDAQ have really been wiped back. NASDAQ now back down to up plus 0.1%, whereas it was up almost 1% in pre-market. However, the Dow is the one now that is starting to gain a little bit of traction, which is good, guys. It's the Dow that usually is the one that is influencing the cryptocurrency market. As weird as that is, I don't have the explanation for you as to why that is. I've gone through and done all those different comparisons of the stock market versus crypto. The correlations definitely are not on par when you look at things like the S&P. It always comes back to this Dow Jones for some reason. So Dow now up 54 points. So hopefully we're seeing some kind of rotational move happening in here, because this is the one that we tend to be really stuck to. So, okay. I think that's really going to cover it. We can jump into news here really quick. UK considers a blanket ban on crypto investment cold calls. There's crypto investment cold calls, huh? All right. Bitcoin halving can take Bitcoin price to $148,000 by July of 2025 by Pantera Capital. Man, those numbers are smaller. Even for that, like if you really think about that, that's right. I think that's why Bitcoiners don't really do price predictions too much on Bitcoin anymore, to get that hype going. Even that, you got Pantera Capital giving a moon number, right? Their moon number is $148,000. That's only 2x the previous all-time high as the potential height of how high it can go. You have to truly think of it as like store of value. It's just going to stay still than anything else when it comes to Bitcoin. Multi-chain victims search for answers in 1.5 billion exploit as new evidence emerges. Recursive inscriptions, Bitcoin supercomputer, and Bitcoin DeFi coming soon. Crypto P2P scams in India. Here's what happened in crypto today. 10 times the amount of views of anything else. Chinese officials sentenced to life in prison for Bitcoin mining and corruption. Why is Bitcoin price stuck? Hey, nice. Usually we see these say, hey, why is Bitcoin price up today? Why is Bitcoin price down today? Why is Bitcoin price stuck? There we go. BlackRock has more to lose from a Bitcoin price crash pre-Bitcoin ETF. Remember, guys, how many months now have we been saying the ETF is a carrot dangled in front of you? It's going to constantly be there, and you're never going to get it. And if you do, it's the top of the market. Bitcoin analyst eyes V-shaped Bitcoin price bounce as RSI hits 5-year low. Yep. V-shaped bottom, huh? I don't know about that, but okay. All right, CoinDesk. Tornado Cash devs charged Bitcoin traders move past $1 billion liquidation event. Yeah, well, we all moved past that. We don't have a choice. Will SBF blame the lawyer's strategy work? I saw John Deaton saying that he would represent SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and he would do it under the tense that, or at least my interpretation of what he said is he would do it under the pretense that he could use the blame everybody strategy. And I don't think John has any care of like helping SBF or believing that he's innocent, but if it's a way to throw everybody under the bus, all the politicians who accepted all the money, all the SEC officials that accepted the meetings that they had together, that this story runs way deeper than just SBF being some corrupt guy, allegedly. But that there's a lot of players that were involved in this, and to expose all of them, it sounds like John Deaton would have pleasure in doing that. So interesting. Bitcoin dreams are coming true in Argentina and Turkey. Binance needs to get off Twitter. Okay, yeah, Binance. Okay, Fed now is a reminder that payments aren't crypto's differentiator. Friend.tech attracted NBA influencers. So why does everyone think crypto's latest trend will die? I don't know. All right, Nvidia shares set to open at a record high after a big earnings beat. Yep. That was pretty much the story for the stock market getting ready to open, is really all about Nvidia. Nvidia nears record high with AI demand fueling blowout forecast. I mean, Nvidia is 2023's Apple. It's 2023's Tesla. I think we all know that at that point. At this point, that Nvidia is the showstopper event. So look at this. Now we now have a flip happening over here in the indexes. You actually have the Dow that is up the most out of any index out there currently right now. You have gold up a little bit today. It looks like we do actually have the dollar pulling back as the markets have now opened. So we do actually have a pullback happening in the dollar. We do see a small rise happening over here in gold to get the day started. But I think for me in particular, I'm looking to see some conviction on that reversal over there on the Dow Jones, and we're real close to it. So let's go. 78 points. Okay, let's go. This is the one to get moving, boys and ladies. 5% ladies. That's the big watcher today. It's been a thorn in my side as we've sat here uncomfortably, just because of what happened with Bitcoin when that level broke. I'll definitely get a little bit more excited on this channel should we start to shift away from here. And today, looking as good of any, is a day that it could happen. Now up 80 points over here for the Dow. I will take it. All right. Otherwise, I think we've covered it. Bitcoin popping off the lows yesterday. Altcoins went with it yesterday as well. Today, obviously, mixed day over here. Slight down in crypto. Stock market up, coming off of Nvidia stuff. Tomorrow's Jackson Hole. So I'll have more info prepared for tomorrow morning stream when it comes to what's going on with the Fed, what's going on with all that tomorrow. News, there's not a whole lot of news going on. Everybody knows we went through the liquidation, and we're all trying, and the market's trying to recover from it. So that covers your opening. Stock market up. Dow, there you go. We're going to watch this thing, man. Let's kind of leave this here for now as we start to get into the chat. There you go. Dow up over 100 points. Let's go, man. Let's go. Okay. All right, that's it. Stock market up today. Nvidia did a huge move there for the Nasdaq, but Nvidia has pulled back now after that big surge that happened in there. It was up to over 508, 510, now at 484, up 2.73%. In pre-market, it was up about 8. Mixed day over here. Was pretty green over here to start the morning out. Now a little bit mixed over here. But boy, there you go. Let's go Dow Jones, baby. Let's go. Up 110. We'll take it. There we go. We just took out the height there from Friday. So now we're back in. That's a good sign, guys. Very good. Okay. That's a refreshing way to start Thursday. Okay, cool. So obviously we're teetering here, but you know me, I look at the macro picture too. It's not just about looking at Bitcoin. It's getting the signs from over here, and so the Dow's starting to shift up after hitting that 3 times. Boy, talk about getting uncomfortable. Nice move there over there in the Dow. So okay, let's go ahead and jump into the chat, guys. That's what you got today. Kind of a flat to up day over here for gold. Dollar worked its way all the way back up, now pulling back down. And the stock market, we can see over there, the Dow Jones, it's taking its way up. That's what we definitely would like to see. So, all right, let's jump into the chat real quick, guys. Thank you so much. Gene S., member of Too Much. Thank you for everything you do for your members, and thank you for teaching people about the emotional part of all this. I've been clean for 7 years. Dude, that's awesome, man. Good for you. Every time I meet people, like at the XRP Las Vegas event, somebody had met me and they had told me they've been so clean for 2 years. And I was like, 2 years is where your whole life has already changed. You know, obviously things are changing every step of the way. You know, the first day 1 and then day 30 and then 6 months in and a year in. But 2 years, you like have this whole new life. 7 years, I mean, obviously you're living the dream, right? Still have problems like everybody else, right? But handle them a lot better. So good for you. Look at that Dow, guys, 130. Eric Martinson, my man, gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you, Eric. Sick Thinker, same thing, dude. Thank you very much, man. Gifted 5 BCB memberships. Rock and roll. If your name has now turned to green, you have access to a few emojis, and we do members only live streams once to twice a month. We have been at least for like the last 3 or 4 months. Thank you, Sick Thinker. And if you or a freshly green name, holla at the person who hooked you up. That was kind of them. They paid for it. Oscar Hernandez, my man, thank you very much. Super sticker. What does that do? Oh, I was giving a gift. Thank you, man. Deck Kelly Cars. Hi, BCB. I agree that the bottom is already in and we won't see 12K. However, you've been publicly calling for 2K, so why the bad attitude towards 12Kers? My thing that I've been very clear on is that if the stock market tops and rolls over, here's what you have to understand about the 12K call. The 12K call is saying that we're going to go to 12K and then start a whole new cycle. You have to understand that's what the call is. The call is not that we're going to 12K and then we'll settle for a year and continue crumbling down. The call for 12K is that's where the bottom of the market is at. Structurally, if you do it from right here, right now, you break everything. Break it all. And then you, at the same time, if you have the stock market rolling over, your macro picture is so bad at the same time, it's just doom. Anybody calling for 12K is relying on one stat and one stat only, and that's 84%. 85% of 2014 and in 2018, and ignoring everything else. So if we go down there, it would express troubles that is going on in Bitcoin far beyond anything we've ever seen with Bitcoin before. So you'd have to ignore literally everything for Bitcoin if you want 12K. And the problem with 12K, I don't mind it. I don't mind people like having that opinion. The problem I had with it is that I had 9 months. And so it's hard to express to people what it's like in my position because it's like, ooh, boo-hoo, BCB is complaining, life is so hard. But in my position, I always try to share with you guys too, a view of the emotional state of the market because I get to view that from my end to understand how the market is, if the market is fearful or if the market is overly excited. I will try to share that with you so you can see it because you can't see it the way that I can. I have access to seeing all the DMs. I see all the comments, all the comments that come through on the videos. I'm looking at all that stuff, right, and get to see what it is. And for 9 months, we had people saying we're going to 10 to 12K. And when you have something like that, you say to yourself, why are they not saying 11.5K? Why are they not saying 10.5K? Why are they not saying 10K? Why are they not saying 11K? Why is the repetitive thing 10 times a day, always, we're going to 10 to 12K? It's because they're regurgitating something that they were told. So every time I asked for 9 months, give me the TA, show me why. Not a single time. Not one. So when I hear it, it tells me it's just fear. And so if it's just fear, we have to address that and knock the fear out. Like there has to be logic to it. So if there's fear, I'm gonna go head first into it, right? So that's my problem with the 12Kers is that it's not based on any type of technical analysis outside of saying 84%. You have every indicator in there that has already shown you the bottom of Bitcoin is already in, and if it's not, bigger troubles. By the way, Dow Jones up 200 points, LFG. Dude, let's go, man. Let's go, bro. Let's go. All right. Breathe. There you go. So if we do go down there, so the thing is, my point is we could definitely see 12K again, but not in the manner that everybody thinks. Everybody right now has fear in them because they think we're going to go to 12K to bounce from there and find a bottom. My argument is we go there, and if we go there now, your fear of like we have to still hit a low, there's bigger problems. That's my point. Right as world, new member, welcome. RT007 say, hey BZ, great content as normal. I wondered on the Wyckoff theory with XRP, if FOMO never kicked in after the lawsuit, would that theory still be on track? I'm just curious, and thank you for everything you give everyone. I wondered if the Wyckoff theory on XRP, if FOMO never kicked in after the lawsuit, would that theory still be on track? So that's a hypothetical question of what would have happened, right? That's an unanswered. It's a hypothetical question, so there's no way to answer that. What would have happened if the lawsuit didn't end? Would price have happened? Would price not have happened? It happens within 6 days, right? So we don't have the answer. You know, the thing to lose steam, right? If you need like, what are the things that we saw that weren't happening, right? And we were talking about it during the time after the lawsuit happened. It's just where's Bitcoin? Right. And I always say that's the least sexy thing you can say about XRP is how tied it is to Bitcoin. And we come up with all these narratives, the conspiracy theories. I've seen people commenting on Twitter now. It's just impossible to even know what is even real anymore when it comes to XRP news because it's all so fabricated. It's all so glorified. And so much of it isn't real. And now, especially one of the problems with Twitter with the monetization model is that it incentivizes people to just kind of make stuff up. We always talk about fake news, right? Fake news, fake news, fake news, and how you hate the mainstream media. I think you get kind of a different perspective of it just by looking at what happens within our circle, right? If you create fake news or amplify things, even if you don't really know they're real, what does it do? It gives you more views. If you get more views, then what does it do? It ends up giving you more monetization, right? So we don't really ever cover the news here. We just kind of stick to analyzing charts, but I see it everywhere. And so it's gotten real hard to know what is real, what is not real in XRP. It's got the level of disinformation that happens is astonishing. I don't even know. But what we do know is that when it comes to the price movement, well, whether it's, what was it last year? It was all like ISO 20022 was going to be the big thing. Now the big talk is bricks, right? It's nothing. It's going to be nothing. The next, what were all the other ones? I mean, there's just so many of them all the time. And they ramp them up until the moment comes, then boom, no more talk of it ever again. But what we do know is that the price is very tied to Bitcoin. And so the thing that we were missing was the price of Bitcoin. So I think that's still just where we're at. Big C. Thank you very much. First timer, no message. Kevin Smith. Member for 2 months. Hey, man, let's presume we've had our bull run. XRP plays close to $10. Bitcoin starts heading for 3K. Where do you feel XRP bottoms? Thanks, dude. It would just depend. It would depend on like where Bitcoin is, like looking through the rest of the market, looking at Ethereum and stuff like that to see if there's another leg, right? Would that be the only leg, or would it be setting up for a new one? You can look back to what happens with previous bears for XRP, and you kind of have your references here. No matter what, 70% is like your best case scenario. But all of these, like this is, 95, 96%. This is 95, 96%. We know 85, 85. I think what you would really be, probably your best case scenario would be something like that, which is negative 75%. But it would just depend at the time. But no question, everything's 60% or more, right? That's always a hard pill to swallow as a newcomer into this market, how big the percentage drawdowns are in crypto. And then, you think everything's dead, right? Negative 96%, negative 86%. I've shown Cardano. Cardano went down 99% in 2018 to 2020. 99. And this one might have only been 94. Just kidding, 97. So those are the types of percentage drawdowns we do see, big, massive monsters. I think the bigger question would just be, are we exhibiting behavior to say we're at there, or are we just done? And if we're just done, we've already seen negative 96, negative 97 2 times. And we've seen negative 85 2 times as well. So the cryptos, Big C says, the cryptos you mentioned weeks ago on Twitter that looked like they were in spring phase, SHIB, Link, ADA, and Atom, do they still have the same structures before? I think so. I don't think any of them are broken. The unfortunate thing, and I don't know how to interpret it, I know SHIB and Atom both had their own issues in the last 2 weeks. SHIB had some type of mainnet move, and I guess they fumbled it. Does anybody know the exact thing that happened on it? Then they lost millions of dollars in whatever happened, and their botched mainnet move. And then Atom had a double spend that they haven't resolved. See, those two kind of have their own issues. There's Chainlink. How long is this? May to August. Still intact, yeah. But what was the other ones? ADA has shifted down, hasn't it? Still holding. So yeah, still okay. Definitely not as strong as would have hoped, though, for sure. But they're still okay. Like SHIB, this loss right here, this all happens during their botched mainnet. So SHIB was looking really good. This is precisely what you wanted. Then they botched their mainnet. This fall that actually happens here isn't actually, this is during the liquidation, right? But this is where the mainnet botch happens. Yeah, but I mean, I own ADAs in my top 5 that I hold. I'm long term on that one. They still look okay, but yeah, we obviously you're going to want to hold. You want if we see Bitcoin go plowing through this support, probably not for any of them, right? Probably not for any of them if you take out that support for Bitcoin. Feelings on going to 25.2K again before we go up. Your question is whether we go here again. It's a tough guess. I mean, I'd want to see structure play out. I don't know. I mean, you're asking for like how much of a percent move are we looking at here? %, 3%? I don't know. Your guess is probably as good as mine on if that's going to hit or not. I mean, I hope not. I'd like to see support and strength start to build. But if we go plowing through there, then yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine on that little move. But thank you, Jeremy. Amarin, Bitcoin measured in Nvidia is a fun one to look at. I saw that one over there on Twitter too. There you go. Let's do, look at that, huh? So let's see, what is this? This is the peak of the 2013 bull. Dude, it's like an oscillator, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know to extrapolate from that outside of Nvidia is, of course, crushing Bitcoin right now. Nvidia is in new all-time highs, and Bitcoin is not. Chris Young, I've looked at the charts and wanted your take on 37-ish looks possible for XRP. What are your thoughts? Well, you know, that idea, I'm assuming you're kind of going with the SEC lawsuit idea, right? SEC lawsuit idea is that this is what you just saw, right? Went one more time, right? That's kind of the concept on that. You know, based on, dang, did I lose all of what I had here? Was it on this one? No, I've lost it all, huh? I have to go through this setup, but it's okay. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. I don't see the same setup as you had from back then. That this is really a fully completed, and then that you actually have liquidations at the end. When we actually were falling there with XRP back in 2020 after the SEC lawsuit, the news just kept coming. Constant news and constant dumping. You also had the Grayscale Trust unloading their whole fund at that time. Let's do a comparison of... let's do it. We'll do it right here. We'll do it on a 4-hour time frame. Right right? So like one way to think about it too is that like you've kind of already had this. You've had your capitulation here. My guess is, so right, bounce, bounce, break the floor. Bounce, bounce, break the floor. Right, and then capitulate. My bet is we don't. My bet is that we've already capitulated. We've already hit the liquidity wall of how much you could liquidate out of there. But, you know, like I said, day one, we're only 1 week into this right now. I think the hardest thing is going to be time now. It's going to be time based capitulation and time based frustration. And I think we're going to definitely see that throughout the market. And that's going to be the harder thing for people to handle. I don't even think if it dipped down to 30 something cents, people would lose their mind. Maybe they would. I think there's more frustration just that, you know, you break out from the SEC lawsuit and it's back down below. You even had Stellar Lumens hold on top of the whole thing. XRP is already back below. I think what you're just going to see more of is, as time sets in, more of those posts and those comments of just frustration with XRP. I don't think price capitulation necessarily so much as I think time. I think time's going to be the harder one. So this one, right? Like even this one, which was slower, you know, it took about 5 or 6 days to go breaking down. We're on day 7. This is day 8, actually. So we're now on 8 days, 7 days. If you're going to get it, you probably need to get it pretty soon. Otherwise, my thoughts are that we're actually just going to continue meandering sideways. You know, to get a big break in there without any type of like big events in particular happening with XRP, like we did back in 2020. I think as long as Bitcoin holds its floor, XRP will probably hold it too. You know, that was such a liquidity situation that happened there. You would think it actually would have already hit it. Because that wasn't a crash. That cleared the order books. Cleared it. That wasn't like your SEC crash. That was took everything. Riders World member 1 month. Newbie after a bull run. Will the cycle start over at low prices for chance to put profits back in XRP for opportunity to make moolah 100,000 and up? You dig? Okay. All right, man. Thank you. Andy Philpott says, thank you. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it, brother. You're always so supportive, man. Thank you. Calvin, new member, welcome. Deck Kelly Cars, thanks for the 12Kers, reply BCB. That makes sense. Thank you. Appreciate it, brother. Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like button for educational content. Check out the BCB course. And for great coffee mugs, check out the merch site. Dude, I haven't given out the merch link in forever. There you go. It's in the chat. George Alexanderopoulos, any thoughts on being in phase B of Wyckoff for Bitcoin and haven't had our spring yet? Or has there been too much time passing for it to be likely? Thanks, right? So that's going to be the revisit of the floor situation. If it did, I would just find it very, very unlikely. I just think, you know, we shouldn't be doing it. I'm not gonna, if we break through floors, I'm gonna lose a lot of optimism on Bitcoin and not be in there. So essentially his question is, in Wyckoff, right? You know, your climatic selling, you know, automatic rally, secondary test in phase B, and then heading on down to spring, and then off and away we go. Sure would be a long one. Sure would be longer than any that we've seen before. And I wouldn't really have too much optimism on it with just how high the stock market is right now, and how there doesn't seem to be a whole lot left in it, to be starting over way down there all over again. Ugh. I actually think you have kind of a morphed one happening in here, and it's already occurred. I think spring was actually FTX. Thank you, George. Anta Krapik says, a shout out to the legends who are always buying memberships. I know, right? It's amazing. Baby Oscar Hernandez says, hola, amigos. BCB, what is your favorite bagel flavor? I don't actually eat bagels, but it's not that I don't like them. I just don't eat them. I don't have the opportunity to eat them very often. I don't go out and buy them. I don't even know. Maybe like a cheddar? I don't know. I'll eat a plain bagel all day as long as it's got cream cheese on it. Let's go. Thank you, baby Oscar Hernandez. Matt Bender. With ADA cycle fractal, it seems further ahead. ADA? I don't know. ADA is just like shown no sign of life. It's been brutal. Raymond Lee. Hey, BCB, if everything is tied to Bitcoin, I understand how XRP could shoot to $10 without Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high, with others hit new all-time also. Well, if we go back into a retrace, right, so it's what I've said all of 2022, so it's kind of like repeating that. Going back into a retrace, you still have climactic action into a retrace. You have euphoria. You have all the doubters leave. When all the doubters leave, you can have all your euphoria happening here into a retrace, and then Bitcoin can roll over on itself and crumble. But into a retrace, especially if this is the third super cycle of Bitcoin, that would make it wave 5. That would mean that everything that we've seen and the biggest mistake that was made in 2021 with Bitcoin, there was lots of mistakes. I made mistakes, but the biggest mistakes with Bitcoin in particular is the perception that that's a cycle, that's a cycle, that's a cycle, and that's a cycle. And what was not recognized in this market is that, yes, this is a cycle. Yes, this is a cycle. But this was one cycle and not two. And that what you have here is this. It's merely the wave 4 consolidation to go into wave 5 of the ending of the super cycle. And we've now had 1, 2, 3 super cycles, which actually means you've had wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you've had 5 waves, what could you have next? A, B, C. So into a retrace, you're still going to have the euphoria. You're still going to have all the excitement and euphoria into a retracement, which is the only times we can have anything happen in the altcoin market. It's either retracements or breaking out into new all-time high. Grinding and trending action typically isn't going to do anything for the altcoin markets in retracements, or it's in breaking out into new all-time highs. So my thoughts have been retracement. It's always been my hypothesis. It's always been my thesis, retracement. This, of course, is the one that frustrates and angers the whole world by looking at it like this. But no matter what evidence I provide to show I'm not a doomer. Why would I want that for Bitcoin? Because you know what this means? If this happens, how terrible this is. It's a decade. It's going to be a decade lost in Bitcoin. I don't want that at all. What are you going to talk about on a cryptocurrency YouTube channel for a decade? Right? Jack crap. So you have to understand why, whether you think I don't like benefit from saying this. This comes from a genuine place in my heart to like be mindful of this, because this would be bad for my YouTube channel. So you have to understand, everybody who wants to dismiss this, of course, because it's like it would destroy businesses, it would destroy everything. It would be bad, and it's not something I want. But to be mindful of it anyway, like, you know, a retracement, that's when you can have euphoria in markets. I don't know. I think I've said that in 30,000 YouTube videos. So I feel like I'm repeating myself. I think that's your question. I like built courses around this, that retracements. I mean, we've been through this a lot, brother. Raymond Lee. We've been through this so many times, man, on retracements. The euphoria happens there. It's where retail investors all pile back in. Right now, they can't see it, right? But like, here's all that has to happen. You can visually see it. Now, do you visually see a reversal? Yes, you do. You visually see a reversal. You see it shooting towards all-time high. How about now? Holy crap, I've missed the bottom. It's definitely reversed. I cannot believe it. I was sitting there screaming for 10 to 12K. YOLO, let's pile back into the market. It's so freaking obvious. It has reversed. Everybody get back in. Boom. Retracement levels. So this is always where the euphoria does return back to market. Okay, not always, but 90% of the time, euphoria returns back to the market and people go crazy and wild. And you see that even in little times too. Like an example of it happening recently is just right in here, right? We watched this over here on Twitter and we talked about it a lot, that an ABC correction happening in here, right? What happened? All throughout here into this retracement. Meme coin mania, right? Like everything, dude. Like, you remember the Ben F stuff? Like all the chaos, all the craziness, all of it happens in here into this, even this little retracement right in here. It's where suddenly people just become degens and start throwing their money around. I don't know why it happens into retracements. But it, for some reason, does. Like the breadth opens up and people act crazy. And this one was low liquidity altcoins. Like, you look at it now, and it's very funny to think about people, especially if you're one of these. And this is no way a shot at you. All I'm trying to do is to help you think about things for just a minute. Because you have fallen into the trap, and you haven't escaped it. If you were screaming for 10 to 12K from June all the way through March, and you were really tight with your money, and you wouldn't buy Bitcoin at $16,500, was it $15,500? Because it was going to go to 12, right? You wouldn't touch it there because it was going to go to 12. But then you went and bought Bambi coin on Uniswap with $500 when it was pumped because some dude on Twitter was talking about it. Or you sent $1,000 of Ethereum to some random anonymous person on Twitter who was doing an ICO for, I'm going to dump on you coin. Like, if you suddenly were so tight with your money and then suddenly became so loose with your money, That's the psychology of the market working on you. Right? Are you back now to being tight with your money again? Right? You're not degening anymore. It's a phenomenon that happens. But yeah, when we get back into that, all that stuff, if you remember all that craziness, that was all right here, back into a retracement as we typically do. And whether they're on small time frames or on bigger time frames, they always seem to happen in that manner for some reason. So it's a doozy. And my thoughts are we'll get it into the retracement. If we don't see it into the retracement, then I'm going to start thinking maybe we are going to get a new all-time high. But I would think we're going to get it up in here where all the craziness happens. Hopefully. Or no. Hopefully we go to all-time high. I'm not here cheering for Doomtown. I'm definitely not cheering for it. Like, you realize I'd have to be stupid to be cheering for that, right? Look what happens during bear markets. Viewership goes way down. Everybody's not like super happy and super fun like when prices are going up. There's nothing beneficial to me about prices crumbling. There's nothing. It's garbage. So I don't say these things to be like, haha, it's totally a not just, yeah, not from a bad place. Wow, look at that. The Dow right back. Downtime on NASDAQ. Let's see what's happened with Nvidia, down to 481. Look at that. You got a big turnaround over there on the Dow Jones. Wonder if anything happens here. Pat, gifts 5. Thank you, brother. Ari Madugno, super curious of what narrative will accompany a Bitcoin retrace. It seems so gloomy. Should we open a pool and take bets? You're never going to guess it. It's going to be some surprise. Right? What was the one that marked the top? The surprise of Elon and Tesla. Right? What was the one that surprised at the bottom? FTX just suddenly collapsing overnight. No one had FTX collapsing on their bingo card. World peace. World peace, right? And maybe, right? What if wars come to end or something like that and people think that's what it is? Somehow the Dow is still just barely holding on to a grip of being up today, but the Nasdaq took it all back as Nvidia pulls back. Everything flipping red over there after the market opened. Market opened green, pulled back. Dow took off. Dow pulled back. Now Dow slight red. Everyone should listen to Aiden Kim because we're all breathing. Yeah, that's the good part. I saw somebody post over there on Twitter yesterday, and I almost retweeted it, but I think I had a bunch of other stuff in it too. I was like, I don't know. If your entire happiness is tied to crypto going up, then you're not enjoying the journey in any way. And if you think the money is the thing that's going to change your life and suddenly buy you happiness after it all goes up, it'll likely only buy you misery if you can't be happy along the way. Every problem that you have in your life is still going to be there, even if you have money. You could maybe pay off your house, do whatever you need, but you could blow through your money very quickly. If you're thinking, especially if you're the guy who's going to say, I'm going to buy a Lambo, you're definitely just going to blow through all your money before you know it. I want to cry in a Ferrari. Marty Robb says, BCB, if Bitcoin does go to $2,000 to $3,000, are you buying at that point? I'd have to see. It would probably be a long journey. Look at that candle on the Dow. Come on. Evan Casey says, I want to get as rich as possible before the U.S. defaults for my family. Well, isn't it if they default, then the dollar is pretty much going to be worthless? I think they've stated that the U.S. can't default, right? They can just print the money. I think if Bitcoin went to 2K XCal, interest would be lost. Yeah, gold, right? Why is the market sad now? Look at that candle on the Dow. Racing Death, he says, I'm kind of tired of people assuming wanting a supercar is so negative. No, man, there's people who are passionate about it. Dude, my son, I'm terrified of it. The guy is gonna want supercars for sure. That's like his thing. It's more of like a meme in crypto. I think even I have a Lambo. Like it's so part of the culture. Look at that. I have a Lambo. I just typed it in chat. A Lambo emoji. It's like it's part of culture. All right, what are we at? Oh, dang, we're over an hour already. Okay, so there we go. Dow's still holding on top. Boy, gave a teaser of an opening today. Looks like it's starting to pull it all back. What a whopper, man. What was that? 250 points all taken back in whatever's going on out there currently right now. As the Nasdaq takes back all of the overnight gains that have happened. Nvidia takes back about $20 of the pump that it had, $25 of the pump that it had. United Health is up, Roblox is up, Coinbase down, and Tesla down. Bitcoin back to 26,132, still holding on top of supports, but pulling back from yesterday's rise that we had. That got it up to 26.8, still meandering along in here. The Dow, be a doozer. What a tease right there for it to pull back from. XRP still sitting at about 52, 51.7. Gold, how are you doing? Gold is up today. Silver now down 6 or 7 cents. It was down about 18 cents earlier this morning. So that's your news. How's the dollar? Dollar just steady in here. Bitcoin still chilling. There you go. Let's see how it goes. Holy guacamole. But yeah, Ari, I don't know what the narrative will be. That's always the thing that you never really know. Like when the peak came in for Bitcoin, we actually had drawn out that far to like $70,000 a long time before the market ever took off and broke out into all-time highs. And we were looking at 70K because of about 4.236 extension. And little do you know, right when you get up there, right when you get near the peak, the ultimate surprise happens, right? Elon Musk buys Bitcoin. So, nobody saw that one coming. And that's, of course, what FOMO'd in everyone at the top. Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like button. Catch you guys on X. Heart hands. What is this one? I don't know what those other ones are, but I see the frog. Sweet. Thanks, guys. Max says, the problem with a Lambo is that it'll depreciate like mad. if you want a supercar that won't, buy something like a 911 GT3 or a limited Ferrari. Those cars always appreciate in value over time. There you go. Connor says, Goblin Doomtown incoming. Trent, cars are a terrible investment. Unless from 2020 to 2022, they were actually pretty okay. Now, terrible. They're falling so fast. I've been watching the used vehicle index. I've had to put my vehicle in the shop. So my vehicle, it's paid off. But usually every year I've got to put about $1,500 into the vehicle. And I always say, you know what? If that's all I have to put into it, then that's way cheaper than a car payment or a car note. So I'll just keep this thing going. I'll put $1,500 into it every year, and that's life. You know, something random breaks, right? Some belts need to be changed, or an arm goes out and you need to replace it or something. And but this year it's been more. This year it's been closer to 3,000. And so I've been peeking at vehicles, right? And just being like, okay, is it time? Is it time? Yeah, plus gas, right? And then when you buy a new vehicle, so your insurance goes up, right? So I don't know. I've been looking at vehicles and stuff and holding back, of course, because prices have been so high on them. But I've been following the used vehicle index, and it's been the average used price on a vehicle has been falling $500 every month. So no matter what, that makes it much easier to just sit in your own vehicle that you have right now, knowing that they're falling at a rate of $500 per month. Because that's going to be about what a car note is, right? Maybe a little bit more. Nowadays, maybe a little bit more. But like if you went out and bought a vehicle and gave yourself a $500 payment per month, you're losing that immediately. Well, somehow the Dow holds itself after that chaotic fall. Right back to where we started. Plus 2 points for the Dow. So, all right. That's it for today, guys. Looks like we had a shot at it. Hopefully that was a good sign. Stepping further away from the support levels. Hopefully a good sign happening in here. As for gold is up, dollar down a little bit off of what the start of the morning was. Bitcoin's still holding above 26. Nothing exciting coming from crypto over there right now. Nothing crazy in the news today that we saw. Of course, we're coming off of Nvidia earnings. The market kind of blows off overnight. Nvidia was up 8% at one point. Most of this market was green as we opened, now shifting a lot to red. Now we're within an hour of the market being open. I've been live for an hour and 12 minutes. Otherwise, guys, we'll catch you soon. So if you're not following me over here on Twitter, you can follow me at BCBacker. That is the only social media that I do use, BCBacker on Twitter. I do not DM you asking you to send your crypto anywhere. If you do that with anybody on Instagram or Twitter or anywhere, you are getting scammed. This is my only social media that I actively use, and I will never ask you to send me your crypto. Otherwise, if you're looking for more content, you can, of course, check out bcbacker.com. Blockchain Backers Technical Analysis Toolkit for Crypto. Over 40 videos, 11 hours of content. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Dale, BCB, do you still think XRP could hit all-time high this year? Personally, I've lost hope. Did you lose hope last Thursday? During the liquidation? If you look at how we were moving with 2017, has it lost pace with 2017? Right? Yeah. It has. It has lost that whole move, deviates it away from 2017. Now, the question is it because of a liquidity event that caused it? Can it recover quickly? We'll have to see. If we give it a month or two and we're still sitting down here at the lows, not a good sign for things likely coming soon. The thing we'll definitely need to see is the thing nobody wants to hear is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, not your bricks, not your ISO 2022, not Ripple IPO shares. It is going to be the crypto market and liquidity coming into the market, not all those narratives that make really good headlines. That's the cold, hard reality. So, all right, let's go. Check out bcbacker.com, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.